Welcome to Film School Friday. I'm Corey.
I'm Bill.
And together,
we host the Unfocused podcast.
That's it?
I mean, yeah, it's going to be like the couch gag on The Simpsons eventually.
Yeah, that's cool too.
It'll be something new every time.
Film School Friday is our special weekly episode where we try to pass along all of our knowledge, wisdom, and experience along to you. Whether or not you do anything with it,
it's up to you.
It's up to you. Either way, look, you're here, we're here. Let's see if we can maybe give you a little wisdom today.
Yeah.
Speaking of wisdom, Bill.
Yes.
I have been hired to help a company produce a live stream production here in a couple weeks.
Excellent.
And I'm curious if there's anything from your wide world of corporate content creation that maybe I need to make sure I keep top of mind, or things I just maybe am not aware of to make sure that goes off without a hitch.
Yeah. So live stream is something that's only come about with the advent of high quality video content across the internet. So let's say within the last 15 years, just as a rough example. I do it pretty regularly, maybe once a quarter. I'm involved in producing corporate content that is live streamed, that goes out across the country to multiple places. For those who don't know, live streaming is basically taking video content, shooting live from a certain location, and essentially broadcasting that out across the internet to people in different places, wherever they might be. And that's used a lot, especially during the COVID pandemic. It's become more prevalent than ever before.
Yeah, I know there's been many churches that have adopted really high-tech live streams.
Yes.
Corporate events, I know, very regularly now have become really large virtual live stream productions versus what historically would be very big live in-person type events.
That's right. And so a lot of what I've done traditionally has been people in person, but, hundreds, sometimes thousands of people in other parts of the country that are tuning in at the same time. And a lot of times there's a chat feature where people can interact in real time and, ask their questions in the Q&A portion. There's just a lot of different advancements that have been made and continue to be made when it comes to live streaming. So when it comes to the logistics of live streaming, you can do anything. When I first started doing this, it was a single camera operation. It was just me with a MacBook, plugged directly into an interface and relying on the Wi-Fi from the Marriott or wherever I might be doing the live stream from. Yeah. So it started very, you can be bare bones like that, especially if the company who you're working for is a lot smaller. I don't recommend that. It was very stressful. Most of it is team-based. You're going to have a group of people there helping you. You're going to have somebody who's watching audio, watching the soundboard, someone who's a few people sometimes who are running camera. Most live stream, at least some of the bigger companies, do multicam when they live stream. And so you've got people operating those cameras. A lot of times you have a person who's sort of the director who might be wearing a headset and speaking to these operators and, giving them some direction on tilting and panning and whatever they want them to do from the board, which is a lot of times in the back of the auditorium or the hotel ballroom or wherever you're shooting.
In your experience, are you running multicam? Are you running a single or multiple cams into an interface and then live cutting? What does that interface kind of setup look like?
So we use Blackmagic makes an interface for live streaming that we use, and we've got multiple hubs that we use that are of this Blackmagic brand that we run up to. We've run up to 3 cameras off of it, and then of course we have a Mac setup in the back of the room where these hubs all interface. And we use what's called Ustream, which I think it's owned by IBM now. It's a platform for doing live streaming. And we do, we cut live. We have somebody who sits there with the Mac, with Ustream pulled up and controls all the cutbacks and the fades and cues the lower thirds when a new speaker comes on.
Yep.
Music, that sort of thing. It's very high pressure live streaming. because it's live.
I'm sure.
Just live alone is a lot of pressure. So if you've ever worked in broadcast before, especially live broadcast, obviously, you understand the pressure of something like that. The one variable that becomes particularly terrifying when you're doing live streaming is the quality of your connection, which I have had a few nightmares when it comes to quality of connection. It's always something that personally I lose a lot of sleep the night before a live stream event, just because I overthink all of the logistics, and I'm typically the one doing the directing. So I'm thinking about all aspects of it. Sometimes, no matter how much you check the connection of the venue you're shooting from, nothing can prepare you when something goes wrong, and it inevitably will. So fair warning.
Would it be a fair assumption to say one of the questions you should ask beforehand is a hardlined internet connection possible?
Oh, yeah.
Definitely something to think about, right?
Absolutely. And if the hotel you're shooting at tries to sell you on their crazy fast Wi-Fi, tell them no. Ask for a network cable. They will give you a network cable.
Cat 5, please, and thank you.
Yes. Been in situations where they've tried to sell me on their high-speed Wi-Fi, and I'm like, you know what? Not for what we're doing.
Yeah, this is getting really super technical, but the difference between high-speed wireless and bandwidth and throughput on a wireless network, it's really challenging for many hotels to match what you could get equivalently for like a hardline connection, specifically for streaming high definition or high quality content.
Right. And I mention hotels a lot because that's generally speaking where a lot of corporate events and live streams will take place. If they don't have their own like in-house auditorium like Apple does, or something like that. But live stream doesn't always have to be corporate content either. One of my first live stream gigs was for CMT, shooting a CD release party at a music venue in Nashville. And that was a completely different setup. It was very similar in the way that it was approached. Me personally, I was only there to operate camera. There was somebody else that at the controls doing all the button pushing. I was just there on camera. That is something that was being streamed out live to CMT.com at the time. And that was performance. That was not, you didn't have to worry about a slideshow or lower thirds or things like that. So the game does change a little bit. And music venues, when it comes to internet connection, can be very questionable. So, moral of the story, if you remember nothing else from this live stream discussion here, please do me a favor. If you ever live stream, show up not an hour before show, 2 to 3 hours before the show. Make sure everything works. Run a test again, run a test again until you are for certain that everything is up and running and your signal is as clean as humanly possible. Because, man, it'll take the stress off of you, and there's nothing like the nightmare of having things go wrong live. It's that you can't fix it. You can fix it in post later, but those thousands of people who have watched it live have already seen the mistake.
Yeah, for them, you should fix it in pre.
Yes, you should absolutely. That is why you show up 3 hours early to a live stream, to fix it in pre. Exactly.
Nice. Awesome. All right. Well, Bill, as always, a wealth of knowledge. Thank you so much for sharing. I can't wait to hopefully not fuck up this live stream.
Ask for that Cat 5.
Cat 5, please. Awesome. All right. And for our listeners, make sure you check us out on Instagram at InFocusPod or online at InFocusPodcast.com. And if you like what you heard today, go ahead and subscribe. And if you're on Apple Podcasts, please leave us a rating. It would help us out a ton.
It would.
And until next time,
feed your crew.
Yum, 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 yum.